We're going to scoot back here and start our gentle yoga class. I've had requests for stretching and twists today, so we will have lots of that. I know you guys are at home, so we maybe don't have all the props that we usually have. I do have a blanket here, so if you have a blanket at home, it doesn't have to be this sort of traditional yoga blanket. Any blanket will work if you want any sort of cushioning today. And you know we usually use our strap. So if you don't have a yoga strap, just be inventive. You can use a bathrobe belt, a regular belt, an extension cord, anything will really work here. I have my blocks here. I don't know if I'll call for them today because most people don't have blocks at home. You could always substitute a couple good sized books that are about the same size. The 6th and 7th Harry Potters work really well. They're pretty good sized books. Or The Complete Works of Shakespeare is also a really big book if you happen to have that laying around. I do. So let's start off today laying on our backs. Go ahead and come all the way down. And you can have your knees bent or they can be flat. Whatever's going to feel more comfortable for you. And go ahead and give yourself a few minutes here to settle in. Let your eyes close down, relax your face. And I really want you to try to let go here. Let your morning go. We're all a bit more riddled with worries and fears and stress right now. But try to think of something good that happened yesterday. The first thing that comes to mind. It doesn't have to be a big event. Something good, something that made you laugh, that made you smile, that made your heart warm. And focus on that for just a few minutes. Feel your ribs expand with every inhale. And contract with every exhale. See if you can visualize your lungs inflating completely with air. Even filling up a little bit extra when you feel full. And then see if you can visualize them slowly deflating as you exhale. Squeezing out even that last little bit of air. Give yourself 2 more of those really deep breaths. Filling up extra, squeezing out extra. And if your legs are down flat, then let's go ahead and bend them now. And bring your feet wide towards the edges of the mat. Let your knees fall in towards each other. It's okay if they don't touch. Just let them fall that direction. And on your next inhale, draw your arms straight back overhead. And then as you exhale, like you're making a snow angel, sweep your arms down your sides. And inhale, the arms straight back overhead, really reaching. And then exhale, sweep them down the sides. Keep going with this at your own breathing pace. The slower, the better. Really reaching on the way back. And as you sweep, imagine someone pulling on your arms a bit, really finding that length in the arms. Few more of these. Give yourself one more. Make it the slowest yet. And then walk the feet closer in together. And let's bring that left leg down flat. And pull that bent right knee towards the right shoulder. Use both hands here. Now that extended leg, the left one, flex that foot. Pull the pinky toe back towards the knee. Maybe even pressing that left heel slightly forward, really exaggerating that stretch. This foot on the bent knee, do what you want with that one. You can roll it around, point it and flex it, just let it hang. Hold on to that really slow breath. Now take this bent knee and just sort of make some circles here from your hip. Keep the rest of your body still and just sort of see what's happening in that hip joint. Just give a little bit of movement here. This nice, slow, deliberate movement creates some lubrication in that joint for us. And taking your time, let's just switch sides. So bring that right leg down and the left knee in, however you want to get there. There's no hurry to find it. And then pull that left knee towards the left shoulder. That right foot, we want it flexed. Pull the pinky toe back towards the knee. You'll notice that if you really relax that leg, let it go all loosey-goosey, you're just not doing much for yourself here. There's not nearly as much happening. So we're going to be more active in that stretch, keeping that foot flexed, pressing that heel forward a little bit. Breathe into the stretch. the screen, there's a little doggy tail. Now find a little bit of movement in that left hip, just making circles with that knee. It helps me to keep my right hand on the right hip, so I know I'm keeping that one still. Really isolating this movement into that left hip. Seeing what your range of motion there is in that hip. On your next exhale, let's bring that right knee in to join the left. And then dropping both knees to the right side of the body. Keep your shoulders down. And then look to the left. That left arm is extended out. And let's turn that palm up. Feel how that opens your shoulder and lets it relax a little bit more towards the ground. You guys know I love my props here, so feel free to make yourself comfortable. A block or a blanket underneath the knees or between the knees. And really notice how your back is feeling as you breathe, especially at the top of that inhale. If you're finding any weird pinching at the top of the inhale, then try to adjust to get rid of that. You want this to be a comfortable, gentle twist. And coming back to the center. And then switch sides. Drop the knees to the left, look to the right. Couple of more slow breaths here. And then coming back to the center. Setting aside a prop if you're using it. Now from here, I want us to bring our knees out wide and the bottoms of your feet closer together. Grab onto your ankles, your calves, your feet, whatever you can reach. And start pulling the feet in closer to the body as you press the knees away from you. Widen your collarbone here. Shoulder blades pulling a little closer to each other in the back. Few nice deep breaths here. Now, when you're ready, see if you can heave yourself on up. Strong core, lift the hips, and just roll it on up. So you're in a seated position with your legs in the same way. Give yourself a couple of tries, and if you don't make it, then just roll them up however you want to. Now from here, we're still going to hold on to this diamond shape with our legs. And then you're going to hold on wherever feels comfortable. So wherever you can keep a tall spine, grabbing your ankles, your feet closer to your knees, it doesn't matter. Whatever feels best for you. And then on your next inhale, pull the shoulder blades close to each other in the back. Lift the chest, look up. And as you exhale, round your spine. Tuck your chin, really pressing your upper back to the wall behind you. And then inhale, lift again. It's just a seated cat-cow here. And exhale, round. And inhale, lift. Just give yourself a couple more of these at your own breathing pace. And after your next exhale, just find a neutral spine. And let's find ourselves here in our pinwheel pose. So bring your right leg in the front, your left leg to the back. Now if you do have a block or a book, it can be really helpful here. So grab your complete works of Shakespeare. Next week I'll have it here so you can see how big it actually is. Now, we want this front shin to be parallel to the front or the edge of your mat, whichever way you're facing. And then flex your foot, pull your pinky toe back towards your knee. And you'll notice, without even doing anything yet, that if you relax that foot, you're already losing some stretch in that hip. It's like a light switch. Flex that foot and you're already turning on this activation and starting to stretch that hip. Now let's pull that knee just a little bit more out to the right. This back leg is wherever is comfortable. Now turning your body towards your knee. So really twisting towards that knee and start to hinge forward here, keeping the spine long and leaning over that knee. Now only come as low as your body wants to go. We want to avoid hunching in our back to get low. So just listen to your body here. And blocks can be helpful here to come down onto the elbows. I can't even come that low in this direction. This is a lot more about how your mama made you, how your leg fits into your hip bone, than your actual hip flexibility. And think about holding your breath at the top of an inhale, just for a few seconds. And then as you exhale, fall just a little bit deeper into the stretch. And slowly rise all the way up. And then facing forward here. So we're facing right over that shin and that calf. We're going to keep that foot flexed. And then you're going to hinge forward that way. It's going to feel a little bit different. And same thing here. We want to keep the spine really long. We're really not doing ourselves any favors by hunching into it in an attempt to get our face lower to the ground. Think about pulling long, widen your collarbone, shoulder blades closer to each other in the back. And with every exhale, allow yourself to just melt a little bit more into that stretch. We're going to reach all the nooks and crannies of our hips here. And slowly come all the way up. And then, this is the one that feels best for me, but I know most of you don't like as much. We're going to turn towards the foot. So we're angling towards the left this time. And then you're going to hinge forward in that direction. And for me, this is where I can actually come the lowest. It's just the way my hips are made. And just breathe into this one. Can't even believe how quiet my house is right now. The boys must be studiously working on their virtual learning. So weird. And then slowly rising up. Now we're going to switch sides. Taking your time. Left in front, right behind. And setting up in the same way here. We want that shin parallel to the front. Flex that foot, that's our light switch. And then maybe pulling that knee just a little bit more out towards the left. We just don't want it really right in front. With these holds here, that tends to cause some numbness for lots of people. That's why we're going to start with it pulled just a little bit out. And sitting really tall here, turning towards the knee, and then hinging forward. We do tend to hold a lot of tension in our hips. And we're all holding a lot of tension in our lives right now. So stretching your hips this way brings out any sort of emotion, fear, anger, whatever it is we're sort of harboring right now. Just sort of let that float over you. Breathe through it. Maybe even take this opportunity to release it. Press up. And then face straight forward. Hinge forward. Keeping this foot flexed. It's a lot to think about. Sometimes I like to cheat and sort of hold it, or I'll bring my block to it. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of cheating in life. Think about lengthening through the spine here. then rise all the way up. We want to come all the way up before we switch the direction of our stretch. And then hinge towards that foot. And then lean forward that way. This is where that block comes in really handy for me. Just sort of tuck it on those toes and it holds it flexed. Widen the collarbone. It's really easy to sort of let the shoulders hunch in here. And you see I find that curve in my upper spine. When you pull the shoulder blades closer to each other in the back, even if you have to rise up a little bit, it lengthens the spine for you. And slowly, slowly rise up out of that. And find all fours. Here, try and set yourself up so that your wrists are under your shoulders, or maybe a little bit ahead if that feels better. Your knees are under your hips. And then let's just drop our hips a bit from side to side. You're going to feel maybe even a little bit more tenderness here than usual after those stretches we just did. So you're really looking to find that stretch right here on the side of the hip. You may find that the sides are different. I have to go pretty far on the right to find that stretch, but not so far on the left. You have to go way down on the right, and there I found the stretch. On the left, it's right there. It's just our bodies are different. We're not necessarily symmetrical. So just listen to your body. Don't try and force it into perfect symmetry. Give yourself one more each side. And then come back to the center. Now let's bring the right arm straight out to the side, even with the shoulder. And without moving the rest of your body, find some up and down motion with the shoulder, but a flapping motion. Keeping the rest of your body still, so don't bring the chest into it. Just the shoulder. And now allow that chest to open all the way up. And let's roll that wrist around some. Now thread this arm underneath and behind the left, all the way through, setting the shoulder down. Now this right arm can stay just as it is, or you have the option of walking it forward, straightening that arm. It opens the chest a bit more. Maybe it feels good to lift that arm up in the air. If you choose this, make sure that you're rolling that shoulder up and away from the face. But choose what feels best for you here. And then use the to press back up. Reposition yourself here, knees under hips, wrists under shoulders. And then we're gonna bring that left arm straight out to the side. And then same thing here. Just some flapping motion. Keeping the rest of your body nice and still. And then allow that chest to open, reaching that arm up, maybe roll that wrist a few times. And then thread that arm underneath and behind the right, all the way through, setting the shoulder down. And either staying right here with this right arm just supporting you. Feel free to bring your head to a block or a blanket here if your neck is uncomfortable. Maybe walking that arm forward. That allows you just to sort of twist open a little bit more if that feels good. Maybe reaching up. If you reach up, make sure that your shoulders not down here on your chin, but really pulling it up and away. Wiggle around here as much as you want, finding the stretch you want on the shoulder, the twist you want on your spine. And release. Come back to all fours. Now walk your hands just a little bit forward. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Press down with all 10 fingertips. Walk your knees just a little bit back. Tuck your toes and find a downward facing dog. Now really moving in your down dog here. Bend one knee and then the other. Maybe let the hips sway side to side a little bit. Bring your feet nice and wide here on your mat, all the way to the edges even in your down dog. Really pressing back through the arms. Feel free to keep a bend in the knees here. Just a couple of more breaths. Down dog is a big pose. Now, whatever feels better for you, either walking your hands towards your feet or your feet towards your hands, or maybe a combination of both. Let's just bring them together. And then inhale halfway up. Exhale, fold. On your inhale, arms wide, flat back. Rise all the way up. And exhale, the hands down the center line. Now, if you've lost yourself a bit here with your legs, let's bring them nice and wide again. So to the edges of your mat. And toes are pointing forward. And then we're going to find a little bit of bend in the knees. Core and strong. Now, if this makes your knees uncomfortable, see if turning the feet out a little bit helps. Like you're riding a horse here. Now just tent Your hands in front of your heart. Fingertips together here. Shoulder blades pull down away from the ears. And just breathe. Finding some work in the legs, but relax your face. On your next exhale, just straighten the knees. Looks like my face is cut off. That's okay. And bring your arms down by your side. Now, inhale the right arm overhead. Hold your breath, reach higher, and then find a side bend. Keep holding your breath, opening your chest more to the ceiling. And on your exhale, release. Inhale overhead. Hold your breath, reach higher. And then find your side bend. Keep holding the breath, you can do it. And exhale, release. Other side, inhale. Hold your breath, reach higher. Now take more air in, and then bend, holding the breath. Bending over full lungs here, and exhale, release. Other side, inhale. Hold your breath, reach higher. Now take some more air in, fill up. And bend. On your exhale, release. Bend the knees again. Riding a horse. Now we're going to bring a bend in our elbows, and our hands are just hanging down, like nice and soft. Hang here for a sec. Just really loosen the wrists. Now on your next inhale, we're going to pull the hands up. Pause. Turn the hands. Exhale, bring them down. Loose wrists again. Inhale. Pause, turn. One more. Pause, turn, loud exhale. Release the arms and inhale overhead. Lift the chest. And exhale, fold forward. Now come halfway up. And fold forward again. Keep this bend in your knees. Inhale, raise all the way up. Straighten the knees as you come. And exhale, hands down that center line. And then walk the feet in. And let's just step to the front of the mat. Feet a comfortable distance apart here. Let's bring our hands to our hips. Now just take a step back with the right leg and find warrior one leg. So we don't need to be super long here in our warrior one. Check on your heels. They should be more or less in one line. And planting down into that back foot. Now just resting your left hand onto that left thigh. Inhale the right arm overhead. And then exhale, twist back, reach back, and follow that hand with your eyes. And then inhale, forward and up. And exhale, twist back, look back, circle around. And 2 more of these. Inhale. Exhale, circle around. 1 more. Exhale. Now bringing the hands to the hips. Wait for the bottom of your next exhale. And then 1 big step or lots of little steps back to the front. And just switch sides. Now give yourself that moment here to check in on everything. Heels are pretty much in one line. You're really able to press down into that back foot. If that pinky toe side won't press down, then you've probably stepped back too far. And shorten your stance just a little bit. Now just rest that right hand onto your thigh. It's just relaxing here. And inhale the left forward and up. And then exhale, twist around, reach back, look back at that hand as it circles. And then inhale, forward and up again. Imagine someone holding your hand here and lengthening your arm for you. Just pulling, pulling, pulling. Exhale around. 2 more of these. Inhale. Exhale. And 1 more. Inhale. Exhale. Circle around. Bringing the hands to the hips. On the bottom of your exhale, just step it forward. I'm going to walk back just a little bit here. And now bringing our feet comfortable distance apart here. So think about right under hip bones. And bring your toes facing forward. Now let's just kickstand up onto the right toes. Stand really firmly into that left foot. Breathe. And then keeping both hip bones facing forward, just turn that knee out to the right. Don't go too far and let your hips turn. They're staying neutral. And then bringing the knee forward again. And release. Other side, root down into the right foot. Stand really tall in that leg. Grow taller. And just kickstand up onto the left toes. And keeping your hip bones pointing forward. Sometimes it helps to bring your hands to your hips and point your fingers forward. Turn that knee out, stopping when the hip stops. Don't let the hips follow. Coming back to the center. And release. And let's find ourselves back down on the mat. Sitting, not laying yet. Knees bent, hold on behind the knees. And we're going to bring ourselves from like sitting to sitting. So really lengthen your spine. Grow tall. Grow 2 inches here. It's easy to come from a slouch and gain a lot in your spine here. Pull your shoulder blades close to each other in the back. Breathe. Think about pulling the belly button in towards the spine here, like you're trying to snap it. And stay right here. Keep the feet on the ground. Keep that length in your spine, but reach your arms forward. Now twisting from your core, torso and arms come to the right. Keep the length in your spine. And then back to the center. If you need to readjust and find that length again, do so. And then to the left. And back to the center. And then slowly here, lay all the way back. Let's keep the knees bent, walking the heels in a bit closer to the hips. And let's make fists with our hands, pinky side down. Really pressing down to the ground here. And then start to lift your hips to a bridge. Maybe rolling the shoulders under a little bit. Keep pressing down with your arms and your fists. Now stay here, or maybe bending the elbows, bring your fists up by your hips. See what feels better for your shoulders. Whichever feels better, stay there. Breathe. Keep pulling your chin away from your chest. You want a nice long neck here. And then unrolling the shoulders, one vertebrae at a time. Come back down. Bring the feet close together and let the knees come out wide. Just take a few breaths here. Let your back just sort of stay in that natural back bend that it falls into here. Just relax it. And bringing the knees up again, walking the feet hip distance apart. This time you're going to grab your strap or whatever you're using as a strap. And it's going to come underneath you. And you want your hands to be under the strap with your palms facing up. And then just hold on to the strap on either side of the body. Your palms are facing up here. Now when you're ready, start to lift your hips and rolling your shoulders under. Start to bring your hands closer to each other, as close as they want to come, but keep your palms facing up. Maybe even pulling on the strap like you're trying to pull your hands away from each other. Lifting your chest up and back towards the wall behind you. But keep that chin away from the chest. Breathe. Slowly releasing the hands away from each other, unrolling the shoulders, one vertebrae at a time, coming down. And bring the knees into the chest, rocking side to side. If it feels good, you can rock front to back here. Whatever feels better for you. Settling back into the center here. Keep that right knee pulled in, but let's bring that left leg down flat. Just like we started, pull that right knee towards the right shoulder. Flexing that left foot. Now we're going to pull that right knee out towards the right, letting your hip tell you when to stop, keeping that left hip in place. So again, this is just your hips mobility. It's not a contest. We're going to hook that hand behind the right thigh, and then start to straighten that right knee. It does not need to straighten all the way here, wherever your body wants to stop. And then start to point and flex that foot. Really slowly here. Extending out through the toes, pause at the point, pause at the flex. And then bending into that knee again, coming back towards the center. And draw that knee across the body to the left, just about halfway here, so don't come all the way to the floor. And then look to the right. Nice soft face here, maybe even closing the eyes. And with every exhale, think about your shoulder blades really relaxing towards the mat. Really let them melt down. That bottom leg is a bit relaxed now. Coming back to the center and switch sides. Right leg flat, left knee in. Keeping that right leg engaged, flexing that foot. Now pull that left knee out to the left, just as far as it wants to go. This right hip stays down. Hook your hand behind that knee and start to straighten that knee just as much as it wants to straighten. And then start to point and flex that foot. bending that knee again. Come back through the center, across the body to the right, roll onto that right hip. Stop about halfway here. And then look to the left. Really letting the shoulder blades sink heavy to the mat. Back to the center. Start making your way to your Savasana however you like. Use whatever props you have on hand and that you like here. If you're used to using a bolster, just grab a couple of couch pillows under your knees instead. Or a couch cushion even. Let your feet relax, your arms relax. And finally, let your face relax. Back to that happy thought you found at the beginning of class. Whatever it was that happened yesterday that made you smile. And just hold that. Hold that front and center in your mind and in your heart. Let it bring a soft smile to your face. Stay in Savasana for as long as you like. Try to give yourself at least 5 to 7 minutes. Thank you for practicing with me. It's a joy during these times. Namaste.